I'm always happy to see the word pandit used in its proper context without any condescending. When people say the pundits, they derive from this word and they make it sound much less than it is. It's, of course, unfortunately, in Anglo-American culture, we don't always have the same level of respect for the diversity that is supposed to be, as Professor Nanda said, enshrined in the First Amendment. So, of course, the First Amendment says that the government needs to maintain equal distance from the different religious traditions. At that time, the fear would be that they would support Protestant Christianity and be against Catholics and Jews. So that's why the First Amendment says it cannot establish religion, but it cannot also in any way thwart or attack. So there are these two ideas of establishment and disestablishment. Now, that should have been easy, actually. I agree. And until the 20th century, most critiques of the laws that regulated religion assumed that that law didn't care about the different religions. In fact, it was just another religion that was beginning to censor religions to the extent that they bothered the legal discourse and made judges and jurists kind of confused because they don't want to study religion, right? Nobody in the legal profession, there are scholars of law and religion, and these are exceptions to the rule. But most people who are in the legal profession, they don't really care much about religion. And some of them are religious, some are not, but that doesn't affect the fact that professionally, they're not interested in talking about that. That would be true until, say, 50 years ago. And then all of a sudden, there was interest in religion, and that became important even for intellectuals too. So people like myself actually could have jobs, because it would have been very hard to imagine somebody who's working on such a narrow niche to find multiple options to work both in Middle Eastern studies departments, history departments, joint programs that were also connected to law schools. I'm happily ensconced and situated in a religious studies department. But so why is it hard then? Because everything that was said is true, that it isn't in theory very hard at all for people to accommodate one another. And in fact, globally and internationally, we're committed to this. Because there are other considerations, and these were also hinted at. There is a volume called The Politics of Religious Freedom that came out of Chicago University Press, multiple authors, and they all agree that most of the time when people discriminate against people because of religion, they're also discriminated against them because of something else, like color, like the person's accent, like the way they look, like their preferences, maybe food or something else. So this is a very important factor. If we protect religions, it's not enough to protect religions. We have to protect religion as it associates in the mind of the average person who's going to do the discriminating, the person who's unhinged, right? Or occasionally the administrator who is not prudent enough to know that they're in fact in violation of the law when they discriminate based on religion, if they are found out. The other issue is sometimes, so, we are one of the most diverse groups in the world. All the religions are there. Again, if you go back 50 or 60 years ago, that wouldn't be true if you were to include Islam. But now there are enough Muslims and they're very diverse. And it's very hard, according to lawmakers and judges, to accommodate everybody. Okay, so think about the Affordable Care Act. It wants to implement the First Amendment. So it says, I don't care about the prohibition of abortion. I want to have an abortion for my wife or my daughter or whatever. And then a clinic that considers participating in abortion acts such an abomination and a bad thing, they also want to avoid doing this. So the Affordable Care Act would say, sure, here everybody should get insurance that covers abortion, but no clinic that doesn't want to deal with this kind of thing should enter into this deal. But it's not that easy, because there are clinics who would like to benefit from being included in these laws and all the perks that come with them, but they don't want to change their religious doctrines. So if we were to go in the direction of saying, well, these clinics then don't get to benefit from the legal system and the financial system that considers abortion a right, then they would say, well, you're taking us out. Everyone here may have heard that in California, we ended up thinking forever about the Dignity Hospital conglomerate in San Francisco, which wanted to partner with the University of California in San Francisco. That would have been done on the condition that no matter who wants an abortion, a professor, a faculty member, a teaching assistant, or a staff member, they would tell them, no, we're not going to do it. That woman would have to drive 100 miles or 50 miles or somewhere and might actually get sick because they weren't afforded the health care they expected. So that's why it gets hard. It gets hard because it's not only religion. That's one factor. There are other considerations, cultural, and just unfortunately, the human capacity for discrimination and dislike of others. But it also has to do with kind of internal and substantial issues with religion. The moment I afford someone a right that accommodates their religion, I might be actually stepping on somebody else's toes. I still want to say that it is not hard to figure out one enemy, one new Leviathan or kind of monster that's entering into these debates is sometimes people are not honest when they are in public service. They are sometimes judges or administrators who have religious biases and who use the law's ambiguity to benefit one religious tradition or another. So this is really something, I mean, it's not completely new, but it's gotten very hard for people to tolerate when you look at Supreme Court decisions, for example, and then you find yourself forced to look at the religion of the judge or the justice to see why they supported this decision, why they voted this one way or another. There are, of course, cases that just came from the end of this last term. And what I'll do is I'll actually just shoot a couple of links, one to a website that will have you hear the oral arguments and the decision in the case, the Little Sisters case, which was in Pennsylvania. It's an Affordable Care Act case, and a link to that book I referenced, which is The Politics of Religious Freedom. And I'm happy to spend most of my energy in the conversation as opposed to monologuing further. Thank you.